fourth speaker is from nowhere but Manila, Dr. Lorna Israel. Dr. Israel is a faculty member of the Department of International Studies of Miriam College. She was Program Fellow of the Asia Pacific Development Center in Kuala Lumpur. She was also facilitator at the Institute of Women's Studies and consultant on gender and BBM at the National Anti-Poverty Commission. She is also a member of the editorial board of the Journal of Humanities and Cultural Studies.
Good morning to my fellow presenters, and good morning to all of us. Magandang umaga sa ating lahat. Of course, you should clap at me. Once again, let me welcome you to Miriam College, where I graduated when it was still known as Miriam College, and for some stable reason, my name remains Lorna Israel. I'm honored to share my thoughts to you this morning. Don't worry, I am not going to tell them in silence, but I will keep silent in due time. Philosophy deals with ideas and the wisdom behind them. In other words, words of wisdom. Asia's words of wisdom are very economical and space-saving. Conveyed in sayings or proverbs, they do not consume that much time, letters, or papers. You can easily send them on Twitter and other social media. And they have unseen, mysterious, and ghost-like or godlike potency, as noted by the late Benedict Anderson, a Southeast Asian scholar, who observed its prevalence in the Asian region. To the Ifugao, a Filipino indigenous community in northern Luzon or northern Philippines, words can harm or kill. Thus, they build an imagined wall to protect them from the curses of their enemies. Asian words of wisdom also come in short stories like the Zen stories. A professor of philosophy in an Australian university encounters the magical potency of Zen stories. He calls it a ghost. Zen stories, he writes, though saying a lot, also contain a lot of unsayable. They sound right, but resist verbal explanation. He demands words for the unassayable in order to put the ghost to rest. Of course, I'm not going to say his name. But the biblical passage warns, the more words, the less meaning, and how does it profit anyone? The Mahatma Gandhi spoke, speak only if it improves upon the silence. The 11th century Rabbi Solomon ibn Gabriel positioned silence as the first stage in seeking wisdom. The sacred Kabbalistic text, the Book of Silence, begins its teaching by encouraging readers to study the fine art of silence. Because out of silence comes hearing, out of hearing comes understanding, out of understanding comes wisdom. The Book of Silence teaches two kinds of silences: the silence of the mouth and the silence of the mind. However, a silent mouth does not necessarily entail a silent mind. A silent mind always accompanies a silent mouth. Thus, the Book of Silence identifies three kinds of learners. One, the fool, who is not silent in mouth or mind. Two, the hearing impaired, whose mouth is silent, but not the mind. And third, the listener, who is silent in both mind and mouth. I'm sure you can identify yourselves in one of these three kinds of learners. You might say that the fool and the hearing impaired, with all due respect, because, and I do not mean to be disrespectful, because most of the time I'm either a fool or a hearing impaired, are those who think loudly and the listener allows thinking to proceed. Those loud thinkers, ironically speaking, also make us silent. Like me, for example, no? Putting us in a communication theory called the spiral of silence. Conceived by Elizabeth Newman, the spiral of silence talks about the silence of those whose views are contrary to the majority. They fear isolation or punishment or being trolled or bashed in the social media, as the case nowadays. As the media plays a significant role in shaping public opinion, which is basically the opinion of the majority, the silence or the spiral of silence concedes that they're relegating the minority to the spiral of silence. In the cyber world, the opposite of the spiral of silence operates. Those with minority opinion, the vocal minority, never seem to shut up. Who is not to say that the internet is where thinking aloud is the communicative norm. In fact, there is a company in the internet whose business is to cater to the business of thinking aloud, the Noise Agency. So the Noise Agency can help you to meet these challenges and achieve your goals while delivering a more interactive, informative, and fulfilling customer experience. In other words, this business of noise doesn't find anything noisy about noise. It is in fact very profitable for it. The present world takes pride in being highly technologized, where communication and information lines flow seamlessly and endlessly. But these technologies do not seem to have a space for silence. Is there an app already available in your devices for this silence? There is a Filipino saying, kapag ang dagat ay malalim, asahan mo at malalim. Silent water runs deep. Immersed in our noisy mind and mouth, we are drowning and falling and failing to listen to the depth of the ocean's silence. The implication is clear. What words of wisdom can we communicate if silence has no room? The Buddha was supposed to have said that he did not say anything. That despite saying a lot of sutras or discourse, that he did not teach anything despite devoting his life to teaching. Actually, if he did say or teach anything, he might just be repeating what basically makes the mind sick and makes us noisy and loud. Words and ideas they contain. That is why he claimed he did not utter a single word. In other words, the Buddha was basically silent. In this highly technologized world, speed is a determining element. We might say that the present world that we know can be described as modern, challenged with modernity, and speed is one of the defining marks of modernity. And speed undermines the space for silence. Silence where one can enhance moments of reflection, understanding, and wisdom, where one listens instead of simply hearing. We are always in a hurry. The imperative of a text message is an immediate reply. We apologize for replying after an hour. We annotate a picture posted on FB as late post. A news in progress is called breaking news, which instantly excites us with dread and anxiety. For what is breaking news but an instance of speed? It calls us to speed up because anxiety is bursting our thoughts. Our technologized world is governed by dromology, or the logic of speed, as conceptualized by the French philosopher Paul Virilio, and the technological devices we use drives us to become dromomaniacs, or addicted to speed. So in our dromological world, one is bound to be late, one is never on time, because speed operates outside the logic of time. So I think it's time for me to stop talking, but I leave you with another Philippine words of wisdom.